So, for video game fans, and PlayStation players in particular, you would have noticed that a slew of video games are making their way to the big and small screen. Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, Mortal Kombat, and Ghost of Tsushima are getting adaptations. But one of the most noteworthy has to be Naughty Dog's Last of Us, which will be getting the HBO treatment in the very near future.
Are you kidding?
But what do we know about the dystopian adventure? And how will it compare to the video games? Well, let's take a look. Alright, let's start off with the cast. Now, while many people had lobbied for Hugh Jackman, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and Andrew Lincoln for the role of Joel, HBO opted to go with Pedro Pascal, and another example of the actor taking over our screens. Pascal will be paired with his HBO alumni Bella Ramsey, who played Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, and the two will be embarking on this post-apocalyptic journey together. As of right now, the rest of the cast have yet to be confirmed, but a number of other characters are set to appear, with Riley, Tess, Marlene, and Maria all announced. A redacted four-lettered character name was also teased, with some speculating that this is a reference to Abby, who is a controversial figure to say the least in the sequel. We're still waiting to hear news on Joel's brother Tommy and who will be playing him, along with presumably the show's big bad, David. Now, in my opinion, David is one of the best villains in video game history. Creepy and cunning, the casting needs to be just right. I would love to see Andrew Lincoln play the part of it because A, I think he'd crush it, and B, it would be the counter opposite to his Walking Dead role. Neil Druckmann was lead writer and creative director for The Last of Us games, and while heralded for the first one, his name is another controversial one among fans after his narrative choices in The Last of Us 2. Now, to be honest, I'm a fan of the sequel, and while I prefer the first one, I do actually like the second. But I do understand why people take issue with some of the story choices. I mean, that Joel scene was heartbreaking. I didn't want him to go out like that, but still, there is no one who knows The Last of Us series better than Druckmann, so it makes sense for him to co-helm the TV adaptation. Druckmann will be working alongside Craig Mazin, who directed the hit HBO miniseries Chernobyl, and if he can bring that level of emotion, passion, and visual horror into The Last of Us, the show will be in very safe hands. Now, while the sequel story is divisive, the first game's narrative is almost universally adored. It's good to hear that Druckmann is planning on sticking pretty close to the game's storyline, with him even pulling chunks of dialogue straight out of the game and into the series' script. This means the series will take place decades after an infection causes society to collapse, and the survivors have to make their way through a post-apocalyptic world. The series will also likely have flashback scenes from The Last of Us Left Behind side game, which focuses on Ellie's relationship with Riley. Druckmann has made it very clear that the series will not shy away from the LGBTQ+ storylines that featured in the games, and it will be a big part of the series. This all being said, Druckmann did also confirm that the series will deviate from the game slightly, and there will be changes in the plot. If Abby is to appear in the first series, then her life before murdering Joel might be shown in the series. However, it is unclear how long the show wants to run and what the longevity will be. Now, we're not sure if it'll spill into the second game or even go past the second game, but Mazin has hinted that he would like to see the show go on for a number of seasons. If that is the case, then they might want to add some more filler story in between the first and second game, as they wouldn't want to kill off one of their main characters too early. Then again, HBO have never exactly shied away from killing their main characters, have they? In terms of release date, this is going to be a short little bit. We're still unsure when we'll be seeing The Last of Us hit the screens, as COVID-19 continues to have an effect on the film and television industry. However, with the show currently in pre-production, we may get to see it released sometime in 2022, although that is conjecture as of right now. So, we know the characters, dialogue, and story will mostly be the same, but what else will carry over from the games to the screen? Gustavo Santaolalla, who provided the score for the games, will be carrying over to the TV series, which is great news considering how strong the score is. Personally, I'm hoping that the immersive cinematography and unique camera work, like the moment Joel is hanging upside down in the first game, are all included. The use of Steadicam could certainly have this effect, and HBO certainly has directors, such as Miguel Sapochnik, who could emphatically pull it off. Another question is, what form of infected will we see? What will they look like? And how scary will they be? There are plenty of diverse and terrifying mutated beings in The Last of Us, such as bloaters, clickers, shamblers, and the Rat King, any of which would make for perfect additions to the series. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see.
So this is what we can expect to see and what we want to see, but what about you? What's the moment you want to see in the series? I don't care how much it costs, the giraffe scene has to be in there. That's probably one of the most beautiful video game moments of all time.
No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
Well, that didn't suck.